Hey guys, it's Ryan Fowler with the Inner Game Group. We got Gary here, we got Jordan, we got Tim, we got Brent and his brother. Inner Masculine Live, Inner Game Group on Saturdays. We're going to talk about gratitude today. We have a very good, interesting clip by Tony Robbins on gratitude. He actually has a gratitude exercise every day he does. He's going to talk about why it's important. We're going to throw in our 2 cents worth, pick it apart. And then there's a really interesting clip by Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Check out his stuff. Joe is a very interesting character. He's going to talk about gratitude too. But he actually broke his back and was supposed to be paralyzed the rest of his life. And then he used his mind to heal his back. Now he's just walking around normally. And he has kind of fused, like, I guess certain, I don't know if I want to say mystical philosophies, but kind of, the woohoo stuff, combine it with science. And so he's going to talk some of what he says. Oh, and it looks like Brent. There you go. Hey, Brent.
Hey, morning.
Brent too. Sorry. Anyways, Joe is going to kind of talk about some science with some woohoo stuff about gratitude. We're going to pick it apart. We're going to give our take. I think gratitude's very important. But first, everyone introduce yourselves, starting with Gary, then Tim, then Brent and Company, and Jordan.
Yeah. Hey, my name's Gary Hones with BigMindShifts.com. I help you fix your inner world and end self-sabotage with big mind shifts so you can love yourself, reach your biggest goals, and enjoy beautiful, long-lasting relationships.
I'm Tim Costello with ClearThatTrauma.com. I help you find the key to joy by removing subconscious trauma so that you can unleash who you really are.
All right, Brent.
Hey, my name is Brent Caldwell. I'm at BrentsHypnosis.com, certified hypnotherapist, and all about empowering men and women to be the best versions of themselves, mentally, physically, whatever comes to mind. And then this is my little brother, Scott Caldwell. He's not a hypnotherapist, but he's done a lot of inner game work on himself. So I feel like he's qualified to be here with you gentlemen.
All right.
Meet you guys.
Everyone here except for Brent's brother is a hypnotherapist, but Brent's brother, like you said, done a lot of inner game work. And, everyone here is up-leveled. Tim, lifelong friend, Tim more just saw me when I was a train wreck before I cleared out my trauma. And you became a hypnotherapist because you saw that I fixed myself. And then we helped your wife. So everyone here has gone through this or seen firsthand that what we do is super, super, super effective, changing lives all the time, change their own lives with these techniques.
Hey, we didn't introduce Jordan.
Oh, yeah, Jordan. I'm sorry. My bad. Go ahead and introduce. Did he freeze again?
I'm Jordan Kurtz. I'm here.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Yes, we can. You just
good. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm Jordan Kurtz. I help guys end beliefs and unlock their full potential through clearing out the bad mental models that they have and putting in new healthy ones.
All right, very good. So that's the Inner Game Group. And before we get started, I just wanted to let everyone know, you see in the bottom left of my screen, innermasculine.com/free-ebook. So if you go to that on my website, it's coming out in about a week. You get a free ebook. Just put in your email. You get a free ebook on how our subconscious mind works. There's no fluff. This is all just straight facts. How our subconscious mind works, how it develops. Carl Jung, the father of modern psychotherapy, said, until you make your subconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. It's science. 95% of our behavior is dictated by our subconscious mind, directed by that. And everyone has heard about the subconscious. Most know it's super powerful, but very few people know how it actually works. How is it influencing your life? Why are you stuck? Why do you self-sabotage? Why do you procrastinate? Why does your anxiety hold you back on things where you're like, well, there's no real danger here. Why do I have anxiety? Why is it so hard to do these things? What is going on? We'll cover topics like addiction and how your subconscious plays a role in that as well. But you see the table of contents here. You get it for free. It's coming out in about a week. Go to innermasculine.com/free-ebook, and you will get the copy when it comes out. Just pop in your email at that website, and that kind of gives you the whole overview of what we're doing. No charge at all whatsoever. So with that said, we're going to play a clip here Tony Robbins clip about gratitude. I could say something beforehand about gratitude, but man, he says it so well. So we'll just kind of, I mean, it's Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins helps a massive amount of people.
Who's that?
Yeah, who is that? So here we go. We're just going to share the Tony Robbins clip on gratitude. Oh, trying to get it to 0. There you go.
Is that well?
Well, Sir John Templeton is probably one of the greatest investors in history. He started out with nothing. He wasn't Sir. He wasn't from the came from the U.S. And he decided that he wanted to understand wealth, and so he saved $10,000, a huge amount of money in those days. And when Hitler invaded Poland, he thought, you make your money in times of maximum pessimism. If you were around in 2008, 9, you remember what it was like, right?
Yeah.
You could have bought, the Sands in Las Vegas. You could have bought their stock for $2.28. Today it's $67.
Wow.
It's a 3,000% return.
Not bad.
You could have bought Citibank for less than $1, right? So people in those times, he understood that. And so what he did was, and everybody thought the world was going to end, he took $10,000. He bought every stock on the New York Stock Exchange that was $1 or less, including companies everybody thought were going bankrupt. But when things are bad, people think it's going to be bad forever. When things are good, they think it's going to be good forever. And they're always wrong. Life's cyclical. So there's a season for everything. So once we got through World War II and a few years later, guess what? Those same stocks made him a billionaire. So when I asked him, I said, what's the secret to wealth? His response when he touched me, he goes, you know it, you teach it. I said, what's that? He said, gratitude. And I said, why do you say that? He said, because if you got $1 billion and every day you live pissed off and frustrated, the quality of your life is called pissed off and frustrated.
Right.
But if you have nothing, but you're euphorically grateful for whatever you have, you're the richest person that you're going to know. He said, so it doesn't matter how much money you got if you don't have gratitude. So I do the same thing, by the way. I have a process I call it priming, where I get up every morning. I do mine in the morning. I do this radical change to my body, kind of alter my state. And then I do 10 minutes, I never miss. And my first 3.5 minutes is what I'm really grateful for. And I make myself think of at least one of those three that's something really simplistic, instead of something giant, the wind on my face, the look in one of my kids' eyes, something of that nature. And then I do 3 minutes of strengthening, healing, and I do 3 minutes of what I'm going to create my world. And I do that for a minimum of 10 minutes every day, because I believe you have to condition it. You don't just hope that stuff shows up.
You set your intention each morning.
Well, no, every day.
Yeah, very cool. So what are you most grateful for recently in your life?
Well, it's Thanksgiving, so one piece. Well, one is my daughter is 40 years old, and she's been wanting a child forever, and she's going to bring me a grandson.
Wow!
Which is kind of cool.
Congratulations!
Thank you very much.
That's cool.
But also, it's Thanksgiving, so for me, it's a very emotional time, because my family was fed when I was 11, and we had no food at Thanksgiving, and it touched me so deeply, and I decided I was going to get back. So when I was 17, I fed 2 families, and then 4, and then 8, and then I didn't tell me I was doing it, and then I got my friends to do it, and my companies grew, and I've fed 42 million people now over 37 years. And
but you have a challenge for this, right?
This one, what I did, I'm writing this book, and in the middle of writing it, last summer, most people didn't even notice, Congress cut food stamps. They don't call it food stamps anymore, but I lived on them, so I know what they are. Food stamps with my family. Family lived on them, but they cut it by 8.7 billion, which means you eliminate 2 million people from the rolls overnight, and they still need to eat.
Wow.
So I support all these nonprofit organizations, and Feeding America is the largest in the country. And so I thought, I want to call attention to this. So if I donated all the profits of this book in advance, how many people could I feed? Because I normally feed 2 million through my foundation, and I match it. So I feed 4 million a year. And they said you could feed 10 million people. I was like, wow. I'm in.
Wow.
and then as the years gone by, I got more and more inspired. And so now I'm going to feed 50 million people personally, not just from the book. I'm writing a larger check on top of it. But also, I'm working with Feeding America to get matching funds to feed 100 million people.
Incredible.
So to go from my family not being able to eat to feeding 100 million people is a pretty amazing sense of gratitude and a sense of grace. And I've done my part, but there's been grace in that as well.
It's amazing. It's incredible what you're doing, and very inspiring. So thank you for doing that.
So anybody gets the book.
All right. So I love playing clips by people who started out at a low level and just shot all the way up to the top. Tom Bilyeu, big fan of his. Tony Robbins didn't have any food for Thanksgiving. We understand this stuff because we've been at low points and we've up leveled internally. And so what are your guys' thoughts on what he said? That billionaire said gratitude is a wealth mindset. Anything else he said? What are you guys' thoughts on that, or on gratitude in general?
I think for me, it's very interesting because like one of the things I heard in my journey to getting here was like it's very hard to feel down on yourself, have some sort of negative emotion when you're actually feeling gratitude. You can't experience both at the same time, right?
No.
And so it's like if you're priming yourself to be in that state throughout the day, you're probably going to be able to be a lot more successful because you're just not, you have no interference in the background.
Yeah, 100%. How
There are a number of things that gratitude is not just saying thank you or being thankful for something. One of the ways in the last, when I was
really a feeling.
When I was, what's that?
It's really a feeling.
Yes. 19 or 20 years or 40 years ago when I was in the Navy, I was a hothead, had my 78 Caprice Classic 354 barrel running between Groton, Connecticut and Warwick, Rhode Island to the mall and, four to the floor and just, flying past people and how dare they get in front of me and I'm racing everybody down the highway kind of thing. To now, when I'm driving around now, if somebody needs to get over, I sort of back up a little bit and let them over, or I let them proceed, or I give them the right of way or whatever. And now gratitude has taken over, not just in my feeling, but in my actions. And the reason is I don't want to feel the feeling of having cut somebody off or shorted somebody on something afterwards. I would rather just go, hey, I feel better letting that person go. If it was more important to them to go. I mean, it's no big deal. So gratitude starts going from thank you and appreciation to your whole life and just controlling yourself 100% of the way.
All right. Yeah. Anyone else? I got comments.
Sure.
I'll let you guys go first.
The thing that stood out is you $1 million, but you feel like crap, good enough, and then making no money, being and still having gratitude. And so I tie into kind of subconscious mind. That goes back to if you don't feel like in general, the external is going to change.
Hey, Jordan,
You're breaking up.
I think there's gratitude.
Yeah. Jordan, maybe
Somebody
turn
else
off
can
your
go.
camera to reduce bandwidth and then speak. Hello. Yeah, now try. He's gone. All right, we lost him. Well, I'll give my comment, then anyone else can go. What I think is very interesting here is Tony Robbins talks about the depression and how when everyone was panicking, this billionaire saw an opportunity and he bought up all these stocks, made him super rich. I think gratitude puts you in that mindset. And furthermore, he was talking about how there's good times and there's bad times. Well, here's the thing that I've noticed from my own life. Here's how our brain works. Our brain motivates us to pursue pleasure. Our brain motivates us to avoid pain. If you're thinking about all the stuff you don't have and what little you have, is your brain assigning pleasure or pain to your possessions?
Pain.
If you are grateful for what you have, is your brain assigning pleasure or pain to those possessions? Pleasure. My feeling, I've done sessions for lots of people who come back and they're like, oh, my income went up 40% this last year, or 30%, or doubled, or tripled in 2 years, or a year, or whatever, 5 months, whatever. And when you up level your internal world and you have positive internal world, number one, people treat you better. That absolutely opens doors. That if you're a salesman and people like you more because you have a good positive mindset, guess what? You're going to sell a lot more. I had one guy, Jorge Diaz. he said his sales volume like tripled or quadrupled or something like that after we did a session, got all his bad crap out of him. And the thing is if you're grateful for what you have, even if it isn't that much, when times are tough, you're not in panic mode. You're not in, you might be feeling some anxiety. I mean, that's normal if you're like, oh man, my paycheck's small or I don't have a job. But if you're in gratitude mindset and you're thinking good things, you're not in scarcity mindset, and you're going to be in a position where you can find the good in the world, such as, hey, these stocks are really cheap right now. Let's buy them up. You're going to be looking for good opportunities, good things. It's going to make you so much more resilient during tough times, and it's going to make you feeling pretty good in good times too. And I know, I worked in my old job, which was setting up trusts and companies for people. I had this client who was a doctor who had like 9 clinics. He was grossing like $8 million a year, net like $3 million a year, and just a miserable guy, and it's like, good grief, sucks to be him. It's like, who cares if you have all this stuff if you're freaking miserable? And I lived in the Philippines for 2 years. I saw people who were dirt broke, literally lived in bamboo huts with dirt floors, literally. And they were freaking happy. Now, honestly, I don't want to live in a bamboo hut with dirt floors.
No?
They were freaking happy. That's huge. And it's interesting to me that Tony Robbins talks about the hard times and the good times. This guy who made $1 billion, how he uses gratitude every day, and that both him and this other guy were not only just billionaires, but they are happy billionaires. Tony Robbins is a billionaire, if not a multi-billionaire. He owns 107 companies. He doesn't just do this, talking and helping other people. And he's a force for good in the world. He is a massive force for good in the world. So you get in this, and Joe Dispenza is going to talk more of this. You get these good vibes, man, and good stuff happens. It really does. And it holds you through the hard times. It helps you see, if you're looking at how great it is what you have, you're going to be more open to opportunities to make money. If you also have that mindset, I think you do need to have, hey, you're not going to make money if that's not a goal. So you have to think big and have goals. But if you're also in gratitude mindset, it's an abundance mindset that's going to keep you open to this, instead of, poverty mindset is turtle up, shrink up, stay small, stay safe. You can't be taking advantage of opportunities when you're turtle up and thinking about what little you have and how bad life sucks. You're in fight or flight mode now, and your entire psyche is going to be closed to that. So that's my take on it. Anyone want to add anything else before we go to the Joe Dispenza clip?
I got one little thing. So
Sure.
we're on the Tony Robbins train right now.
Yeah.
What he says all the time is, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure, right? And so it's like, you're not in a place of gratitude. You're actually not doing what fulfills you, what you want to do, right? You're going to be that
miserable.
$3 million a year guy who's just hates life, and it's so sad, really.
Yeah, and he eventually lost his medical license and a bunch of other bad stuff. I don't know where he is now, but it's not good. So Jordan, you're back.
I hope this is better.
Oh, much
way better.
Yeah.
So far, so
really?
good, man. Yeah. So go ahead and say everything you're going to say before that we couldn't hear.
I think I was
talking back, Jordan.
I think I was talking about the billionaire was talking about how he still felt crummy after he made the billions of dollars. That gratitude helped change him. Actually, it allowed him to be grateful for what he had, and it goes back to almost everything we've talked about, on this channel and the show. Is it all comes from internally. If you feel like you're good enough, if you feel like you deserve it, if you feel like, this is if you feel like you're worthy, then, you'll feel good about yourself. And it's independent of the money. And typically what we find is that people who feel worthy then are able to go out and get the money then too. we find that, there's sometimes we find that dirty fuel sometimes where people, if they don't feel good enough, they feel like there's that constant lack, but that'll only get you so far. What gets you far is feeling like you're good enough, feeling like you're worthy enough for these types of things. And gratitude is that, I think, is that feeling that kind of shows up when you actually feel worthy of something, is you feel gratitude for that.
We see a lack of gratitude in the world every day, and I would call that entitlement. You've seen enough videos, the Karen videos, so on and so forth, where people think that they're entitled, where gratitude would get them a whole lot more than their entitled attitude. So again, gratitude, like I said before, it just permeates everything you do when you truly become grateful.
Yeah. So if you believe in your self-worth, your life up levels and you're happier. You end up, you stop taking crap from people. You take better care of yourself. People like you more. Well, if you feel good about your ability to go out and get things, all of a sudden you're going out and getting things and you're more successful because you believe in yourself. If you're grateful for things you have, then that keeps you resilient during tough times. It opens you to other opportunities. Your brain is attaching pleasure to the things you have. It just naturally leads you. This is how dopamine works. If you get dopamine hits about what you have, your brain is like, this feels great. I'm going to get more dopamine. And that's just anytime we feel abundance. If you feel scarcity, poor people have scarcity mindset, and it keeps them poor. Yeah. You get abundance mindset, and gratitude is absolutely tied to abundance mindset. Look how great it is what I have. It's going to lead you to get more. You still have to go out and do the work. You still have to have self-belief that, yes, I can get it coupled with it, but it's an essential ingredient. That's why every day, as part of his daily meditation, Tony Robbins starts with gratitude. I have something I give my clients. It's called the Masculine Power Daily Meditation. Starts with gratitude, because when you're in that good frame of mind, you're just going to go out and kick ass. You're not worried about shit. You're going out and kicking ass. It really does. It's part of the formula that empowers you. So any other comments before we go to Joe Dispenza? This one's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'll chime in for a little bit.
Sure.
A couple of years ago when you and me met, Ryan, you taught me about being, grateful and having the gratitude mindset. And it's been absolutely life-changing for me. I used to be very negative and have a scarcity mindset and always think about everything I don't have. But as soon as we flip the script and I think about things I do have, I got food in the fridge, I have my health, I have, you guys, I have friends, family, a good job. I have so much thing to be grateful for every day. You just become so much more positive and enlightened.
And it makes you expand.
It does. It expands.
Scarcity and trauma makes you contract and stay small. This makes you expand. Go ahead.
Sure. No, and it's just like the more and more, grateful you are, the more, the world gives back to you. It's insane how it works. But yeah, just that flip from, negative scarcity mindset to grateful abundance mindset, it's absolutely life-changing.
Yeah. Now you're like, you have your day job and you're flipping like what, 1, 2, 3 cars a month for like $4,000 a pop on top of that.
Yeah. The money is just rolling in like I've never seen before.
It's a terrible thing to have.
Yeah, and you used to not be able to hold a job. Am I right?
Yeah, back in 2019, I had 2 or 3 jobs, couldn't even hold a job, and now, I mean, like I said, I work
not even 30 figures.
Yeah, we're on the path, but yeah, it all started from the gratitude mindset and being positive, and now everything is coming to me like I've never seen before.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So Tony Robbins, never pessimistic, always positive mindset, billionaire. Not a coincidence. Me, I've up leveled in so many ridiculous ways. I've, probably, talked too much about it, but you're up leveling. Gary's up leveling. Jordan, Tim, everyone's up leveling. And it has to do with positivity. Put positivity on everything, your self-worth, your ability, the things you have, gratitude. It's all part of this winning formula. And hey, when bad crap happens, gratitude helps you just weather the storms, man. And it helps you be resilient, because other people in a negative mindset, oh, it's so terrible, we're in a bad economy. And you see this other billionaire and he's like, this is a great opportunity. I'm going to buy all these. He wasn't a billionaire back then. He had $10,000 that made him a billionaire. Ridiculous. So, all right. So we're going to play the Joe Dispenza clip here. Now, this is kind of woohoo. He kind of mixes like, I don't know if you want to call it Eastern philosophy or New Age or whatever, but he mixes that with hard science. Listen to the hard science where he talks about measuring magnetic fields. And you can't ignore the fact that he used to have a broken back and was in a wheelchair, and he healed himself with his mind. Okay. So maybe there's something to his woohoo, but he's going to talk about gratitude here. I think this is very interesting. So let's go ahead and dive into this.
If you truly practice like that level of gratitude or embracing the emotions of your future, you're literally, if you understand, you're changing your gene expression when you're doing it. You're strengthening your immune system when you do it. All of a sudden, you start to see all these fundamental benefits that are a side effect of your efforts. It's going to become something that you want to do all the time, something that you look forward to. And I think that that's why we're here. I think, and when you truly get to that point, like it's an unlearning. We're hypnotized or conditioned into believing we need a reason for gratitude or joy, and consumerism makes it really clear, right? Until I get that, I'm this. But what if you've been creating, and every time you have the thought of your future, you've done it so many times it makes you feel like you're connected to your future? Well, that's a conditioning as well. If you have the thought of your future and you feel the lack that it's not there, then you're back to the victim, right? But if you can have the thought, and the thought actually produces, just like fear, the thought of something terrible happening in your life creates the feeling of fear, the thought of something wonderful in your life creating the feeling of gratitude. Then when you think about your future, you begin to emotionally condition your body into that future. Now, here's the payoff. Thoughts are the electrical charge in the quantum field, and feelings are the magnetic charge in the quantum field. And how you think and how you feel broadcasts information and energy into the field. So
into the collective field.
Into the unified field. So the question is, what are you broadcasting every single day? So then, we know that once you begin to self-regulate, you begin to open your heart, just in that small exercise that we did, the act of creating that kind of coherence in your heart begins to produce a measurable magnetic field up to 3 meters wide. That heart is actually producing a resonance. That energy that
they've measured this, by the way. He's talking about stuff they've scientifically measured. We'll keep going.
Frequency carries information. And when your heart is open, this is our center of oneness. This is our center of wholeness. This is the union of polarity and duality. This is the connection of opposites. So when the heart starts to become activated and we start to feel whole, and it begins to put that energetic pattern into the field, that frequency can carry the thought of your health. It can carry the thought of your wealth. The frequency of suffering carries different thoughts. It can't carry the thought of health.
Is that so? Projecting that electromagnetic frequency into the field, into the collective unified field, is that the fundamental causal response of that thing attracting back towards you? So let's say you project that thing. Let's say it's outside of your body. Like, I think understanding how the gene expression works and understanding how you can heal your body is one thing, but how do you manifest that external thing from happening, that job offer from happening, that thing? You're projecting that out in the field, but what is the response mechanism that actually calls that back to you?
Wow, we need 3 bottles of wine in 3 hours. But let's make it really simple. 70% of the time, people live in survival, live in stress. And that invisible field of electromagnetism that's surrounding the body, that resource of energy, is going to be squandered into chemistry. Every time you react, the field around your body shrinks a little bit more, and you become more matter, less energy, more particle, less wave. And then the hormones of stress cause you to narrow your focus on the cause. So when you narrow your focus on the cause, you're focusing on the particle in quantum physics, matter, and your senses are so conditioned into focusing on matter that you're beginning to experience separation. So the more I live by the hormones of stress, the more I have separation. There's separation between me and you. And my senses are fooling me into it. But the unified field says there is no separation. So then if you're addicted to those emotions and they're heightening your senses, that's what they do in survival, and you become a materialist and your field around your body is shrinking, then you're going to feel separate from the quantum field, and it's going to take a long time for you to create what you want, because you're separate from the field and you will be matter trying to change matter. So the moment you begin to activate this center, this is our connection. This is our first connection to the unified field. The moment energy moves into this center, and we've measured this, the field around the body expands, and once there's energy in the heart, guess where it goes? Straight up to the brain. The heart acts as an amplifier and literally begins to increase energy in the brain. So now, once that field begins to expand and you get beyond, you take all of your attention off your body, off people in your life, the things you own, the place you need to be in time itself, and you become pure consciousness, and you take all of your attention out of this three-dimensional reality, out of the known, and you start putting your attention on that field, and you begin to feel connected from that field. The faster the frequency, the higher the emotion you feel, the shorter amount of time it's going to take for it to appear in your life, because the faster the frequency, the closer you're getting to oneness and wholeness. So then when you teach people how to get beyond all of the elements in this three-dimensional reality and begin to open their heart in that frequency is their connection to the field. The moment they open their heart, they become more energy than matter, more wave than particle. And now that becomes the amplifier that begins to generate a whole new set of thoughts. Now you're creating from the field. So imagine then, if you're feeling connected to all possibilities, then it makes sense then that once you're connected, you don't have to worry about how it's going to happen or when it's going to happen. It's the more you can surrender and go deeper, the more connected you are, then how it plays out in three-dimensional reality, leave it up to the greater mind and just live as if your future has already happened.
Okay, Tony Robbins talks about that too. Visualize future success as it's already happened. And it's worked for him, and it's worked for Joe Dispenza. Joe healed his back, his broken back, with these methods. Now, some of this for me, I got to like listen really careful to understand. I'm going to maybe translate just a little and get your guys' takes on it as well. But kind of to take, there's some things I say that kind of matches. You know, we can have different ways of describing the same thing. So one thing I want to bring to your guys' attention is this is neuroscience. It's been measured. Our subconscious mind processes 1,000 times more per second than our conscious mind. It is our supercomputer. That is not up for debate. You ask a PhD in neuroscience, he's going to say facts. He knows that. Everyone knows that. There's also something called our subconscious reticular activation system, which is anything your subconscious thinks that you feel is important, it's going to bring to your attention. So, you know, after 9/11 happened for me, anytime a clock turned 9/11, I noticed it for a couple of years. That number just stuck out. You can buy a yellow car and then you see yellow cars everywhere, whereas previously you had not seen them. If you have a success mindset, a gratitude mindset, a self-worth, worthy of love. If you feel you're worthy of love, your brain's like, oh, love's important. This subconscious mind that picks up on people's heart rate, people's micro expressions, all these things is going to say, well, that's a match for you. That's a match for you. It's going to bring stuff to your attention right now. And I'm partnered with 4 different, one's a millionaire, 4 multimillionaires. I wrote a book with a law professor, PhD, who was top 5 in his field nationwide. It's because I can tell you this from my own experience. When you get good energy in you, you're an energetic match for people that can help you up level. They give you opportunities. They're mentors. They're teachers. You know, Brent, you up level me to a point because I'm inspired by just what a hardworking, you know, determined dude you are. But, you know, we changed your inner world. We became a match. Now we're great friends. All my friends are great friends, like Brent, like Tim, awesome human being, very positive guy. Tim does cool shit. He travels around the world, sets up automated stores, like fully automated, like AI automation shit. It's pretty, and you're successful. You're doing very well at it. What happens is when we up-level our internal world, all of a sudden we just kind of attracted to other happy, successful people. You're just a match. You just got a vibe. I like this guy. This guy's cool. You know, and a lot of times it's your subconscious just kind of analyzing all this stuff and saying, this is a match for you, man. This is good. If you feel that, and this is where law of attraction plays in. I think a lot of times law of attraction is misunderstood because they just say, think happy thoughts. Joe Dispenza is really giving us the message that, hey, you get your body in tune, you get your conscious, your subconscious in tune. It's all connected. It actually causes you to emit these electromagnetic fields that's been measured. You know, as we get deeper and deeper into the science, we're finding out that we have a second brain in our gut, that we have just as many nerves and neurons in our torso as we have up here, that that we are electromagnetic beings. That's how our nervous system works, that anytime we feel something good, we want more of it, and that's tied to dopamine and all this other stuff. I mean, you look at all this and it all just ties together that, man, the more positive vibes you got in the more you radiate around the world, and all of a sudden people treat you better. You get you know, more opportunities come your way, and it's not a coincidence. I've had over a dozen guys come back to me. They're like, I doubled my income after you did 1 or 2 or 3 sessions for me. What the hell just happened? It's not a coincidence. Now I have even more. They're like, oh man, I just went up 25% my income last year. And that's just one small measurement. But when you get these positive vibes, you're just going to be a match for the good stuff. If you have a victim mindset, I mean, really, how well does a victim mindset, people owe me, I'm entitled, these entitled people, really, how successful are they? Do they ever get successful?
Nope.
They stay victims.
Yep.
Their life stays shit. It really does. Get your inner world right, and then the good stuff comes. But even when it's not there yet, even when the good stuff isn't there yet, you're happy. You're feeling good.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's only a matter of time before the good stuff comes. But regardless, you're happy. That's the most important thing. So there's so many levels of our universe we don't understand.
Yes.
I think Joe is tapping into some of this stuff. I don't know if he's right on everything, but it's not a coincidence that happy people end up with other happy people. Successful people end up with other successful people. Successful people the rich keep getting richer, poor getting poorer, because the poor keep dragging down and the rich keep helping each other be successful. And it's mindset. It really is mindset. So thoughts, comments, you guys on Joe Dispenza and anything else about gratitude?
Yeah. I would say one of the things he said at the very end was this concept of surrendering, right? Like surrendering to like the natural outcomes that are just going to basically happen for you because you're already in that right state of that positive kind of like forward thinking mindset. And like even in my own life, as I've improved my psychology and my subconscious programming, it's wild how success literally starts coming to you.
It does.
And
because other people sense your vibe and they're going to give you opportunities among other things.
It's crazy because I used to have to like beg for work, and now it's just showing up on my desk all the time, and it's inexplainable. And so there is a thing to the woo out there, right?
I own a quarter of a tri-state roofing company now, and it just freaking came to me.
There you go.
And the guy who gave me that opportunity, former CEO of an oil and gas survey company, 250 employees, and we were a vibe, and he offered me the opportunity. If I did not have good vibes, I just don't think I would have gotten that opportunity.
Yeah,
stuff comes your way when you got good internal energy. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so, and it's not just money, right? Like it's in your relationships, it's in your day to day, and your career, like. It's very inexplainable, but it's so easy to notice, right? Because your past it wasn't nearly as easy as it is now once you've like crossed that other side, right? And so success in my mind should be easy, right? So if you're having a really hard time right now, it's probably because your psychology is not where it needs to be. And it's most likely like you're banging your head against the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. There shouldn't be any like it should just flow like the water, right? It just really should be that easy. So,
Jordan, I saw your hand go up.
Well, I was going to say, I did when Gary was like, I'm getting more work. I'm like, yeah, he was helping me out.
Excellent.
But no, I think that when you fix those subconscious programs of I am worthy of these things, then your subconscious your subconscious naturally pulls you in the direction that it believes. So if you believe, if your subconscious believes I am worthy of these things, then it will naturally pull your actions towards the things that are going to get you the things it thinks is worthy of. So it'll feel natural to go after more money. It'll feel natural to go after better relationships. It'll feel natural to be around healthier people because there'll be this natural, almost repellent from these negative things because it doesn't match what's internally inside. Because your internal world guides you towards those things and pulls you away from the negative things if it's healthy. Now, if you have unhealthy mental models that you aren't worthy, that relationships should be, I don't deserve good relationships with other people, I don't deserve money, then that you'll also be pulled towards those things. You'll be pulled towards the negative people. You'll be pulled towards, being poor. And by your subconscious mind moving, like the actions you will take are propelled by your side.
We get it. Keep going.
No, I know what you're saying.
I'm trying to. I'm losing my train of thought, but yeah, I think I made my point.
Yeah. So let me toss something in there. So Joe and Tom Billieu were on another video that Jordan put up, and I watched that whole
Tom
video.
Billieu is on Mindset too, worth half $1 billion. Used to be a couch potato. He changed his mindset. He's big on mindset.
But I'm going to bring up 4 things that he said during that other video that we can't watch here because it's a half hour long. He says at the 1630 point, if you're not being defined by a vision of the future, then you're left with the old memories of the past, and you will be predictable in your life. It's exactly what everybody said. The scarcity mindset. You know what tomorrow looks like. It looks like more of the same because you are going to do more of the same and you have no vision. And then he said about half a minute later, unconsciously, because every person, everything, every place, every experience has a neurological network in your brain, you are going to continue to repeat that until you change it. Then at 2010, 4 minutes later or so if you think 60 or 70,000 thoughts in one day, and we do, and 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts as the day before, and you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, your life's not going to change very much, because the same thought leads to the same choice leads to the same behavior creates the same experience, and the same experience produces the same emotion. You finally got the emotion there, right? And then he says one more, and then I'm going to go on to my point. Just like a garden, if you're planting a garden, you've got to get rid of the weeds. You've got to take the plants from the past, and you've got to pull them out. The rocks that sift to the top are like our emotional blocks. They have to be removed. That soil has to be tenderized and broken down. And here's the key point. We have to make room to plant the new garden. It's exactly what every one of us are doing out there. We are going into and changing the core beliefs of somebody about themselves. Jordan mentioned it. Gary mentioned it. Ryan always mentioned it. And Brent, we haven't talked a lot, but I know he's saying the same thing because he's doing what Ryan is doing, So we create that room to grow the new garden by removing the emotion from that old, or that narration from the old belief, and replant it with better plants that are going to be fruitful. Now, all 3 of you said these opportunities are just coming your way. No, they're not. They've been there the whole time. You just didn't notice them. You didn't have the energy to pull them in, right?
But we're also attracting them because other people who have success energy and have these opportunities are attracted to us by our energy.
But that opportunity was still there, whether or not you saw it, right? Whether or not you attracted it to yourself. So by your actions, talking, doing podcasts, communicating, getting out there, exposing yourself. Nobody gets rich except 4 or 5 people sitting around in their room playing video games, right? We all know Ninja. He's super successful, etc. He's a different type of game player. But most people playing games are in there hiding from their lives. They're just hanging out, and you don't get exposed in your bedroom. Well, maybe that's a bad term, but you know what I'm saying?
Everyone's laughing every time you say exposed, Tim. But
right. so
Gary's cracking
we
up.
often hear this Tony Robbins. 35 years ago, Tony Robbins said, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Well, the opportunity is always there. It's our preparation to receive that opportunity or attract it towards us or recognize it when it comes is what's changed. So
our subconscious drives us to it.
We all get lucky because the opportunity is still there. So now we're prepared. So what do? We help people who don't feel good enough, don't belong, can't get what they want. They're angry, they're raging at whatever, or they just don't feel safe in their world, which is plenty of that out there. We remove those negative emotions from that, and now we plant good things in the garden. And what happens? They get lucky. Not really. They're just now no longer held back. They're out there. They're interfacing. People notice them. Now, the way I look at what Joe was talking about is a thing called light. In our religion, it's called light, right? Everybody's born with this light. The light never goes away. When you're obedient to the truths that you find out, hence, gratitude is one of them, the law of gratitude. As you're obedient to that, your light expands so you can put more truth in there and your light expands. I think that's that electromagnetic energy. I don't know much about the chakra. I know the colors and stuff. I don't know much about vibrations and stuff like that. I hear about them and I sort of agree with them, but I don't know much about them. But what I do know is as your light expands or that gratitude, all of a sudden stuff happens. Why? Because now you're prepared.
Yeah. And our nervous system is electromagnetic. Sharks, part of the senses of sharks is to sense electromagnetic energy coming from other animals. That's part of its sensory system. So it's a thing. That's how our nervous system is. And yeah, there's all sorts of depths to the universe that we're just starting to see. You look at quantum, there's a lot of really crazy stuff out there, quantum mechanics, etc. But it's been verified as true. And Joe is kind of exploring these frontiers and finding out, we have this machine that scans electromagnetic fields and we have someone feel gratitude and all of a sudden their field expands. What the hell? But it's science. It's happening. So gratitude keeps you strong during the poor times, leads to the wealthy times. It up-levels your vibe, so you vibe with more successful people who are, it directs you to opportunities. It's when I say subconscious mind, we store trauma in our body, we store good emotions in our body. I actually count that as part of the subconscious. Just this all over electromagnetic vibe we have with this supercomputer, our subconscious mind, 1,000 times more powerful. Like Jordan said, it's when you have good subconscious programs, now that the subconscious is working for you, it notices all these things that our conscious mind does not notice. And it just pulls us like gravity. And within 2 years of me cleaning out my internal world, or starting to, cured my manic depression in 2 months. 2 years later, boom, income doubled and sustained it, and then went up even further. And I wasn't trying to double my income. It just kind of happened, and I've just seen, that's just one measure of success. There's many other measures of success. I noticed after I got my self-confidence up, it's like, wow, I'm actually attracting more attractive girls, and they're less toxic, or they're not toxic. They're, some of them still were. Brent knows what I'm talking about. But, but the girls I'm with now, they're not. If they're toxic, I get rid of them right away. I mean, Brent, you'll have to come down to Mexico and do a double date with me and the girls I'm dating now. Your jaw will drop to the floor. Well, I've shown you pictures, but
there, baby.
you end up just getting higher quality across the board, relationships, everything. More higher quality people come into your life. So gratitude is a very important piece of the puzzle. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we sign off?
Yeah, I think when you have that gratitude piece nailed down and you've cleaned out all your crap inside, like what you'll begin to do just naturally is you just stop tolerating all the BS that people give you.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to reject them because you have no need to be around them anymore, because you feel content enough, you feel good enough, you feel like you deserve the right respect and treatment. And so it's very easy to get rid of the toxic people out of your life.
Yeah, get rid of the crap. It's not a match for you when your inner
It's
world
also-
is filled with
yeah.
gratitude, self-love, self-belief, all of that. The crap is not a match, and you just kick it to the curb.
Yep.
It's like,
Mike,
yeah.
go. And if anyone can comment on Mike's question, does being grateful mean living in the present? But of course, anything else you guys want to say?
Yeah, I saw that question. Mike, thanks for the question. It's actually a great question. And if living in the present means being grateful for where you are and what you have and executing your vision for the future, yes. But if it refers to the things I just mentioned that Tom and Joe were talking about, is doing the same thing you did yesterday that got you nowhere, then no. So,
Yeah, poverty mindset is living in the present. Look at the problems I have right now.
Yep. But
So-
living in the present with a vision, which is key, that's how you're going to move forward. That's how you'll change today and change tomorrow, different from last week.
Thanks, Tim. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question because I think I draw this question more like just general awareness, like because when you're aware and you're living in the present, you're really just aware of everything around you. So if you're aware, you can be aware of the negative things, or you can be aware of the positive things, and so it's kind of, I suppose, it's both. It just depends on what you focus on. If you're living in the present and you're focusing on the things that you're grateful for and that you want to achieve and you want to do, that's. But at the same time, you could also be living in the present and be not grateful and, concerned and hold all this anger and resentment and bitterness and this victim mindset. So I suppose it's not. Yeah.
It's the best kind of living in the present is gratitude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Salute back to you, P-Dubs.
P-Dubs watches every show. Loyal follower. Appreciate you, P-Dubs.
Appreciate that.
Anyone else?
I was
I
going to
think
add on to what. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead,
for it.
Scott.
Yeah, I think it's based off of perspective. And one other comment that I have is people base their level of gratitude based off of their physical possessions rather than, I have this my life is good. I have this opportunity where I can improve my lifestyle. I think that's a problem that people have with gratitude. Just, it's not about physical possessions. It's about your mindset and how you see things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it applies to every good thing in life. You can be grateful for relationships, not just things.
I'm grateful I got up this morning.
Yeah, grateful you got up, grateful for your health, grateful for your friends.
For sure.
Yep.
All right, so that is our show for today. There is a Tony Robbins clip where he talks about his gratitude meditation. You guys might want to look that up. There's gratitude meditations on YouTube. Hey, incorporate it into your daily practice. Do it at the beginning of the day. Notice how much better the rest of your day is. And when bad crap happens, that gratitude just keeps you strong. It really does. It keeps you resilient. Hey, this bad stuff is happening, but look at this good stuff. It just helps you weather the tough times and be happy even in the tough. Helps you see the opportunities in the tough times, just like that billionaire in the middle of the Great Depression says, oh my God, look at all these bargain basement price stocks I can buy up now, and made him wealthy because he was not in scarcity, poverty mindset. He was in gratitude mindset at that time. So that's our show for today. Thank you, everyone, for contributing. Gratitude, very important, leads to so many good things, and it helps you be happy right now. Just remember, guys, at the end of the day, it's up to you whether you decide whether or not to be grateful. It's not up to anyone else, because you have the power to be grateful. You're the one who has more power than you know. That's our show. Thank you.